Hello, everybody. Happy Tuesday.
Hi. Hello.
So, this is a new thing, and I'm just testing it out. I've had uh, study groups in the past, and it was like really early on when I had just started the group. So I think we only had like 100 members in the group at that time. But I think that if we happen to get an awful lot of people tonight, what I can do is put us up in breakout rooms in case anybody wanted to, like if it was like an overwhelming amount of people. But I think for this one, we can kind of just use our reaction controls to, raise your hand if you want to talk, or if nobody's talking, jump on in. We could talk about what you took away from this video, um, what about it affected you in some way. And so just kind of what we learned from it and what we're gonna do with it. So if anybody wants to start, please jump on in. Hi, welcome everybody.
Hi, how are you?
We still have a lot of people coming in, so not even technically seven yet.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey Troy, how you doing?
I'm doing great.
Um, I'm just telling everybody that it's been a while since we've had group meetings. Troy's been with me since the beginning.
Oh yeah.
It's been a while since we've had like study group meetings. And when we did, we were still like in our hundreds. We hadn't even hit 1,000 yet. So it's
Oh,
a
yeah.
lot different now with a lot more people. So I'm so happy to see everybody here. And I hope everybody got an opportunity to watch the episode. I try to watch it like once early on and then again right before we jump in just so I can kind of remember every little bit of it. But I have squirrel brain, so I'm a fast learner and then it just goes poof. So, but um I think this was honestly one of the first episodes that I watched. And I don't remember exactly which one it was, but this was one of the earlier ones. And I remember it well because of the subconscious mind talk. And I'm a hypnotherapist, so we work a lot with the subconscious mind. And I didn't know all of this had when I went to school at HMI, I didn't really realize like how much religion touched my subconscious mind and how it built me as a human being. And it's so good to hear it talk about this because I I didn't know like just that pattern and just how automatic it is for us to just incorporate information that we hear as children and just let that be the standard for our whole life because that is what we have our own value system and so things have had been making a lot of sense to me in that time of my life, and then coming across this really kind of really pulled it together. So jump on in. Anybody who wants to talk, raise your hand.
I can share. I just wanted to say thank you for hosting this. I've been watching his stuff for a long time and don't know anyone else who is, so it's nice to be able to connect in with people who are, watching similar content that really resonate with it. So, I've never met anyone in this community, and I'm really curious if anyone has ever been in the room when he's like guided these meditations and how he does that. I was always really curious about that as well.
I I have no, I wish I knew. I don't. Does anybody else know or have any
I
history of that?
would bother him. I would just bother him all the time. I have another question.
But no, because I think the biggest question that is asked in the things that I watch in the comments and the forums and stuff is how he talked about meditation. Like, what was Bill's way of meditating? And I'm including it in tonight's meditation, and it's going to be like about the third or fourth command I give, and that is just let your body do what it automatically does, and that is breathe, and you just focus on the breath.
Mhm.
That's it. Just be real quiet. Focus on the breath, go within. And I can honestly say that I don't believe that I have hit that light and everything. Like, I don't think I've gotten to the point of meditation, the deep, deep point of meditation that I would like to get to. So, part of the reasons why, I do this is because I don't know everything. I need to learn. And what a better way than to learn from each other? Somebody else might, I have to watch videos sometimes 4 or 5 times just to get the gist of it. And it's something that I enjoy learning. And some people might have picked up something, a perspective that somebody else didn't, or had it, related to it in a way that somebody else may not have. But I really, really appreciate getting together to learn these things. I don't know about a lot about scripture and that sort of thing too, but I really love the way that he goes over and he explains things like Adam and Eve and there's like three people. So it is just it's funny how much we didn't ask questions about. And that's one of those really big reasons why I like watching these videos is because it's like, oh yeah, no, I didn't even think about that. So I don't know
Yeah.
if anybody else has those moments or not.
No, I completely agree because I was the kid that was questioning everything all the time and no one had answers. And we grew up really strict Catholic. And so I can relate to when he talks about, stuff that how people like will never believe him. That's like my family. Like I couldn't talk about this stuff with a lot of my family because they'll think I'm crazy type of. So yeah, me and my sister are like the, rainbow sheep of the family that broke away. So it's just nice. Like it's almost like when you hear truth, it just resonates with your soul, and everything he shares is like, those are the answers to the questions that it's like I unconsciously knew, or like that I don't know. He just answers a lot of questions I had as a kid, and then he explains the Bible better than anyone I've ever heard, and I love that it's like, yeah, it's mysticism. It's not meant to take literal. So I just that really speaks to my soul.
I can attempt to answer your question that you brought up about whether or not there are people involved that knew him or attended his church.
Yeah.
With the best knowledge that I have of our group members. So there is one person who says that they attended his church or attended his services that is in our group, and I don't remember what the level of involvement was, but they said they had. And we have several members who were receiving email communications and notes back and forth from him, but to my knowledge, just one person in our group. Because you're talking 30 years ago, so.
I
Yeah.
can't re
Oh, I was just gonna say I didn't know when he stopped doing those type of teachings and things like that because I've just like I said over the last year I found his stuff and I was like just watching his videos every single day.
After a point, I don't remember when, sometime in the 2000s, he stopped doing a service and was just doing it all online. So at the beginning, it was in his home, and then later on as a service. And that seemed like it went on for about 12 or 15 years. And then after some point in time that those things just became too expensive or whatever other circumstances, they went to just the online part of it.
Okay. Yeah, and is the person that went to his church here right now, or you just know that person?
I know them because they're a member of our group, but I don't know that person.
Oh,
And
like
just
a group on the Facebook group. Is that what you're saying?
yeah,
a
in our
person in
Oh,
our
Facebook
group,
group.
yes.
got it, got it, got it.
Yeah.
That would be really cool to hear. Yeah, more from them too, if they're open for that.
Yeah, and
I
I
wish.
I don't think he ever kept it a mystery. I mean, it was just turn the music up, close your eyes, and sit there for 15 seconds. You know, that was the
Yeah.
extent of the suggestions or the instructions.
Oh yeah, I was curious about, was there specific music, do you know?
Music that he liked.
Okay.
Kitaro was one that they played, a
Yeah, they
Japanese.
listen to Kitaro a lot.
Okay.
They listen to Beethoven.
Hmm.
I think they listen to Brahms and Bach and stuff like that. Sort of standard classical
Yep.
stuff that's sort of at that certain beat, I guess.
Hmm.
That's a great question, Carrie, because I had never even thought to ask what they listen to. I have no idea.
Okay, yeah. I know I have so many questions, but I'll.
I have I have a question. Can, I'm not sure on what date that he passed.
January 4th.
Yeah, January.
January 4th.
Yes, thank you,
Well,
Miss
I
Jerry. I
have
wasn't sure.
January 13th. For some unknown reason, I came across the very first video that says we are electrical appliances. And for the last week, I've watched like 25 videos, and I'm hungry for them, you know. And my
Right on.
focus was I have to find out if this guy's still alive, you know? And then I found out he passed. And I could only think of one question that I wanted to reach out to people in the group. Um, when he says that you flip a switch, all you got to do is touch it. Does anybody know, on penal gland, does anybody know in the scriptures where it actually uses that? He always used to find everything in the scriptures, you know, and
Mhm.
and I have yet to find where we reach out, and I know about the milk and honey and all that,
Hmm.
but I wanted to read it in scripture where we're actually like flipping a switch.
You do know that the word Galilee means circuit, don't you?
I have not heard that.
Yeah, he talks about that in his sermons or whatever. The sermons. Yeah.
If you are specifically speaking about the pineal gland or that reference, I mean,
Yes.
That's
there is one that he quotes often, and that is the single eye. And I don't know the particular scripture, but it is if you make your eye single, then the you will be
your
filled with
body will
light.
fill a blank.
Yep. And his interpretation for that is the pineal gland.
I'm gonna write down that question though, Kevin, and I can try and find the answer to it and see what episode that is on. Well, you said you know what episode it is.
Uh,
You just
I
didn't know which scripture.
I don't know what episode it is. He's talked
Oh, okay.
about reaching out in several of his videos. You reach out, and I just didn't catch that apparently, because a lot of times what I'll do is I'll pause and what, because he's really quick to name the scriptures, and if you're not,
Yeah, if you ain't
I
ready.
choose to flip through the paper rather than use a electronic device. So I'll pause it and then I'll pull it up and I'll read it as he's reading it. You know what I mean? And so mine's a little different because this Bible I came across is an international version, and he uses the King James version, but it's very, very similar. Occasionally maybe one or two words difference or something. But I'll look forward to continuing to participate in the group and see if somebody can.
If
Because
you check out the chat, we have a couple people that are giving you some answers. We have Matthew 6 and we have Matthew 22. Thank you, Beth.
Tony?
Yeah, I had put the Matthew 6:22. My name's
Oh,
Tanya.
Tawny,
Hi,
thank you.
guys. I
Hi,
joined late. I'm
Tawny.
sorry. It's actually Tanya also. But yeah, it was Matthew 6:22, and just to like hi and introduce myself, that was the like what caught my attention with Bill's sermon, if you want to call it a sermon, right? Because I read that so many times, and then the way that he explained it, and if you read all of Matthew 6, he's talking about praying in private. And I guess I always just thought that you're going to pray in groups, you're going to pray in church and stuff. And that was like that first cue of, oh yeah, like go into the closet and pray by yourself. And then he talks about the light of the light of the body being the single eye. And then he follows that by talking about how there's he says, don't worry or take no thought those 5 times, which is meaning dropping all of your senses. So you're really just inside of yourself and connecting
Yeah,
to yourself
5
there.
senses. The numerology always
I
connects.
love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, and then even in Genesis, obviously, when is it Jacob that names the place? Not Jacob. Yeah, Jacob names the place Pineal, which I know the spelling is different, but at the same time, it just makes you think he was wrestling with God at that time, and he named the place Pineal, and so it's just so many like interconnected. And yes, I just wanted to say hello, and I'm so thankful for you guys starting this group, and I love to be a part of this because Bill, he changed my life absolutely, and so yeah, just appreciate the conversation, you guys.
Thank you, Tawny. Thank you for being here. Um, Anybody else want to participate and share? Because I don't know what to say.
Hey,
I mean,
uh, somebody else?
Go for it, Joe. Floor is yours, or Troy.
yeah. Hit
Yeah,
it, Joe.
y'all.
Me,
All
me,
right.
me.
Yeah, me. Good to be back with you guys. Yeah, good stuff. I don't even know where to start, but talking about meditation and receiving that light, feeling the light, whatever. I've experienced it. I've done it in different ways. Oh God, I don't even know where. He talks about the kingdom of God is within us, right? And everything is allegory in the Bible. And it's even mentioned by one of the authors in the Bible that you read this in allegory, like it's all symbolism, it's not literal and all that. And it's still very confusing. And I'm with my guy that was talking about Kevin, I think, talking about listening to him and having to pause and go find it and read it along with him because it's so much. It's amazing stuff. But the Buddhists, they've found ways to do this, right? And I understand now more than ever why a monk would go on a mountain, take a vow of celibate, not celibacy, but a vow of silence, and go be alone for however many time and fasting and all that. All that stuff, it brings on the light. I suck at fasting. I'm not very I don't have a routine where I meditate, but I have had moments where I have meditated, and I've got different types of audios. I can't do it with the Japanese guy. I've got some of that music. I love it. It's beautiful stuff. I can clean my whole house to it. I can't turn my mind off enough to really get into deep meditation. Bill could. And then like Beethoven, beautiful music. All that stuff is good. But what I have found to work for me is binaural beats is one of them, and there's different frequencies that you can listen to that will put it puts me in what they call a theta state. That's like it puts the body to sleep and the mind is awake, or vice versa. I can't remember, but I had an experience one time, and I shared the other day about how I destructured as I become to get into Bill's stuff and to this way of life, the metaphysical versus what I grew up with. There was a period of destructuring where I was depressed. Like I shared the other day that I felt like everything I'd ever been told was a lie. And it sucked. And there was nobody around to talk to about it. Bill's nowhere. I couldn't, the website, like I couldn't find nobody. And it was tough, man. And I go to, like I said, I told you, I go to Narcotics Anonymous. Thank God for that, because I meet some really cool people there that are really open-minded, and I've been able to discuss some stuff there. But there was one time in particular, and I don't know if this was the photon entering me or what, or if it was astral projection, but I was in deep meditation, probably 35 minutes in, and I was gone. I was not home. I was not sitting in my living room. I ended up seeing a vision. It was blurry, but it was like a different timeline. I was in a living room in front of a big old tube television. And this might sound batshit crazy. Trust me, I agree. It was, later on, I still don't know what happened to me, but I experienced something. And that was a little weird. It wasn't scary, but it wasn't like, oh my God, it's heaven. It wasn't that either. But I have had beautiful moments after meditating and trying to stay mindful. And everywhere I go, everything I do, trying to, I just don't know. I mean, I wish I knew, but it's pretty deep stuff. But I'm continue to practice it, and I got a lot of stuff. Like I got a library. I got like almost 100 gigabytes worth of audio files. I got tons of deep, deep meditation stuff. If anybody's interested, I could share that with you, of course. But doing stuff Bill's way, I'm glad we're together here now, and I thank Tanya again for getting this together. And I hope we can continue to do this and share with each other and get to know each other and all that. I'm in the chat quite a bit, so y'all holler at me. And I need more friends on Facebook because all my friends are Christians, and I love them, but it's hard to hang out with them.
Oh,
Anyway, that's it. Thanks, guys.
Hey, I will just throw this out there too for everybody. Many, many times, Bill has said meditation is just close your eyes and hold your breath for 5 seconds. That's enough. So it's not a certain thing at a certain time with a certain kind of music. And in my opinion, meditation is just anything in which you remove yourself when you are just letting things happen, and you aren't the person directing it. Outside watching the stars or, watching birds play in the tree, that's meditation as far as I'm concerned. But, it was as simple as holding your breath for 5 seconds is, all it took sometimes, he said.
Thank you, James, and thank you, Joe. Miss Jerry?
Hi, everybody. I watched that video a couple times and I just wanted to kind of share how it's like fitting in perfectly where I'm at right now. Because I stopped going to church in September and I started watching Bill probably beginning of last year. And my little journey is I was raised Mormon. I knew it was wrong, became born again, almost 50, started reading the Bible, but there was some things that they were doing in the church that didn't add up. But I got away from meditating because the church kept saying it, you're going to get demons, so I got away from, because I started learning about Buddha and meditation, just going within. So I did the church thing. Well, I cannot stand the fact that we have a God looking down from way above when I encounter him all the time, so I had to get out of it. Well, since I stopped going because I can't stand none of what churchianity stands for. So the subconscious things, anything that I post is outside of the norm. The hate of Christian love right now is so disgusting. They love like Christ, yet there is so judgmental from my people that I've been walking with for years. And so I really appreciate you guys doing this because it's a lonely road and it's okay, but praise God for this man of God and Joan. And thank y'all.
Thank you, Jerry. I appreciate that, love. And it is so true because like I don't want to fault people for not knowing any better. You can't do that. You can't they don't know, they don't know. And if they don't understand, they don't understand. And it's so scary. My God, it's so scary to go through this journey of letting go of your religion and everything that you know to be true about life and about God and about holiness and about your culture, your family, your customs, your upbringing. And I also have you know, the same situation. I grew up very, very Catholic, and my family does not know that I'm doing this. But it was just Bill's words, like who tells a child that they're a horrible sinner? And that's kind of what got me. So I completely agree, Jerry, that I have experience of that too. Jesse, were you next or
Um, Not sure, but I'll go.
is that good? Okay. I see you. Oops, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to mute you.
There we go.
I
I was
meant to
like, maybe
put
I'm
your
not next.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just wanted to talk a little bit. Actually, I just found this post and I really hopped right on. Like just before here, I was upstairs looking at some of the upscaled videos that I downloaded to see how they were coming along. It's pretty neat, some of these tools that run in the background, using these modern technology, to take something so beautiful, as Bill has done. And I'm hopeful that, because I know for me, being a tech guy, I'm in my 30s. When I first saw the very first video of Bill, I think I watched it for about 25 seconds. I was like, oh, this looks like dog shit. Like, I don't know if I can keep watching this. But then I listened to it. I put it down, right? And I listened to it. And then I was like, oh, this is like life-changing stuff, right? And then I was like, okay, this is, and then of course when I heard that he passed, I was like, oh man, like if this can be spread to other people, this would be great. So I'm gonna try to do like my duties with that, just for free, just do the best I can. And then I wanted to ask, this group or other people, I guess group, um, is there a certain, and maybe Bill talked about it as well, like synchronicities um with things that he actually talked about. Like I know that he talked about one time with the 4555, the like his address, I think, where he used to work at telecoms. That was on one of his tapes.
Yeah,
And
that was the
talking
name of
about,
the station where they received the signal where he worked
yeah,
for
and then
years.
yeah,
It was
and then of course like
4555. Yeah.
yeah, and then I think the lady said like, that's when I think either like some space magazine stated it or whatever. So there are free apps that you guys could use as well, that are out there. So like I tried using, some of those apps and exploring through space and just kind of keeping, just trying to figure out like that type of stuff, like the actual physical stuff that he was trying to talk about and communicate with. But obviously back then, it's probably almost impossible to really know, versus today, we can type in anything, and find it within a few minutes. So I didn't know if there was like a group of people that had been talking or communicating that way, um, you know, with some of the stuff. Things like gematria, looking at the space, looking at certain formulas to certain chemical, and looking at like the periodic table and how the molecular, makeup of those things kind of connect to other things that we do. And because we are all light and because we're all photon, if you think about it, like this is what my brain kind of went. Is how like in computers, there's a hexadecimal value associated to each variant of colors. There's three different ones, RGB, and different numbers, 0 through 255.
Like hex
And
codes?
yeah, yeah. So like stuff like that. And then you start to realize like some of this stuff that we write in code, some of the shorthand, things like that, it kind of looks like sometimes almost like a math formula in a way, or like a chemistry formula for a particular um, set of carbon-based things. Like I looked up for a melatonin, for example, right? And that's when I realized, I don't know, and maybe he mentioned it, but maybe this is where the idea came from, was that I guess that is linked with breast cancer, where if women took breast cancer medication, that medication would be boosted if they took a melatonin with it. But then, of course, there is another research paper that states that because of lack of melatonin, that's why women are potentially getting breast cancer, right? So
Hmm.
right there is like, oh, of course, like then taking melatonin with the thing because they need it like in the first place, you know? And then when you look at the breakdown, like of the chemistry of what melatonin really is, it's just like, you know, I forget what it is, but like you really look at it and then you type that into Google and trying to like figure it out. It's almost like the search engines don't want you to like know. Like they don't want you to know. Like everything I do, I have to like be very exact and like specific on. And half the time, the research papers are blocked behind a paid subscription. So like you know, for me, sorry you know to take so much time, but um, like the physical world, trying to use examples of that for me to understand what Phil or not Phil, Bill was talking about. You know, because I've listened to now over 100 videos, and I just started in mid-October, you know? So it's amazing. The thing that he informed me with was so much. Like, for example, like my birthday is February 10th, 1991, and the email address for him is Bill Donahue 911002.
So you're thinking about synchronicities and
Oh
things
yeah,
just
that stuff, you know, yep, the synchronicities, and then also like taking it a step more than what Bill started with was, you know, taking some literal examples of the world, you know, and try to see how it connects back to biblical truth, and then connect it back again to the observable universe that we've done, you know, through space, through the advancing of, you know, modern science of the past 100 years. You know, that's pretty cool. So. Yeah, but anyways, but everyone wants to. So like, yeah, I guess like, so my question to lead with is, or maybe a request, I guess, is if there's a group of people like me that are crazy and that can't get enough of this stuff and that are really looking into like the spiritual but also technological like connections with all this, you know, you know, so feel free
I
to
don't know, but
message me. Yeah.
Terrence Howard is he does some
Yeah,
weird stuff.
I saw this stuff too. Yep, I saw the
So,
thing with Joe Rogan. You know, I get what he was saying, and what he's saying like is wrong, but also is not wrong. You know, and then of course for like the shape that he was describing, you know, reminded me almost of the thing that Bill was trying to show people of the eight spin or the eight dotted wheel. You know, that he talks about with is it with the you know what is it Azazio 4555 then the eight pin wheel. And I was kind of look at that stuff, and then what Terrence was talking about, it's kind of like, oh, okay, you know, like you see that the world that Terrence is envisioning with these bubbles per se, like he's essentially describing like ether that we can't see in the world, and that's kind of like how you know, just like let or like bend that with magnetic fields, you know, and and like the fluctuations between them, which is when you know, I don't know. So like, just that stuff to me was, you know, again from Bill's stuff, it's like all the years of knowledge that's probably, you know, a lot of us have either with biblical truths and church and podcasts and other stuff. You start to then take what you learned from Bill, you know, and apply it to these things and really, really try to make yourself uncomfortable with it in a way. You know, you start to find some profound like wisdom, you know, from some of this stuff. So
yeah. I invite you ask when you ask the question like if other people in the group know, post it. Post it, write a post and post it, and people will comment.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Mhm.
The best way to get information is to create a post. The only thing, and I hate to interrupt, and I'm going to be with you in 1 second, beautiful pink shirt lady. Um, I don't do links to other people's YouTube channels. I know that there's a lot of people waiting to pick up his torch and carry it, but as far as I'm concerned in this group, nobody teaches it like Bill. I try to keep this group Bill-centric on teachings. I also saw somebody post, something saying, he put the videos out. He told us to meditate. Everybody should stop studying and go meditate, which is great. And if that was his direct, legacy, he would have made one video. He didn't. There's like 800 of these that we've got to go through if we want to learn them and what's in them. And we also practice meditation. So, but I don't link to other people's pages and groups and sermons and preacher. A lot of people don't have really good experience with preachers at them, and the cadence and everything kind of gets to be off, and it triggers some people. And that's why I put this group together to study Bill stuff, and that's why I kind of keep it Bill centric. But I invite everybody, please post, ask questions, share. You know, this is a community for that. We learn from each other. And lovely lady, I'm going to unmute you right now, or you unmute you because I can't do it. And thank you for being patient. Thank you, Jesse, for sharing.
No
I gotta
problem.
work this now. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, I'm Tina.
Okay.
Um, yeah, I've been watching Bill's videos for a few years now. I actually was able to get the Secrets of the Sun from the website. Um, yeah. So that far back. Um, it changed my world. It was like it finally fit because I was also brought up Catholic, and then we switched to United Pentecostal. We went non-denominational, and so I always tried to fit in there, and something wasn't right. It was never right. I read the Bible, it's just something didn't feel right. And when I first seen that first video, I was like, oh my God, there it is. That is it. That's the truth. And all the things he tries to teach us in all the videos is just reinterpreting the Bible the way it was supposed to be interpreted in the first place. And the gist is, meditate, go within. Um, it just everything just completely changed my world. I'm so happy we have the group, and it's really hard not to tell everybody everything, to try to help them. And they think I'm crazy. And I try to fit little tidbits here and there in conversations, just hoping that maybe it'll, spark something inside of them because it's really hard. I'm in the South, churches everywhere. My stomach turns when people say certain things. I'm like, no, no, don't go back there. It's just, it, it's hard. It's hard to see the truth and see everything and know how much we're being lied to. I can't think of what else to say. There was other stuff, but I'm good now.
It's fine. Thank you so much for sharing, Tina. And I agree wholeheartedly with like it's no, but hey, all those people are doing the same thing that they were programmed and taught to do. It's not really completely their fault how they respond when everybody's telling them to do it. Carrie.
Yeah, no, I can relate to what you're saying, and it's like you want to share the truth, especially like I can relate that to I help my body heal naturally, and I'm like everybody needs to know this information, but it was such a turnoff, right? I'm not here to elicit advice unless it's asked of me, but it was like, oh my God, my body felt the truth and it healed. How come this isn't common knowledge? And I feel like that with this too, of like, okay, this is the next like, okay, I got the body down. And so, yeah, when Joe said something about fasting, I'm like, ooh, I can help you. Like if you want that help. Because anytime I do a fast or cleanse or anything like that, it really helps to calm my mind and the thoughts. Because I feel like when there's a lot digesting here, there's a lot, it's just too much. And our head sits right on top of our colon. And so when our body is more clear, I feel like I get those messages like not necessarily just sitting in meditation. I could be taking a bath in stillness or in quiet or walking in nature, not consuming. I feel like too in this world there's so much noise. There's so much trying to get our attention all the time. And I love learning. So I've had to tell myself, okay, I don't need to watch like 100 of Bill's videos, even though they're great, but like actually apply it. So now it's like consuming and then apply of like having that dance. But also with food, I noticed I used it to suppress um,
I think he's trying.
emotions, right? To not feel. And so the more I let go and be in stillness, right, you can receive those messages. And I feel that I don't know if anyone else feels that with fasting or eating a certain way or not stuffing, my mind is a lot more clear. And yeah, anyhow, I can go on and on about all that stuff, but that's like my passion is helping people with health stuff. But anytime I don't listen to my own advice, I notice I'm not as clear minded and not able to receive those angles of light or angels of light that he talks about. So actually, yeah, I'm just taking my health to a whole nother level, especially hearing it after this, like with what he shares, is he's inspired me to sit in more stillness, even than I already was intuitively feeling before I started listening to his stuff of like, okay, it all makes sense. I want to continue to carve out that time because yeah, I want to just deepen that connection. So anyhow, my thoughts there. But also back to what she was saying is be the example, and then people will naturally want, like I had an aunt that judged what I was doing and then eventually came and asked for help and support. And so it's like, that saying, they'll know you're Christian by your love. It's like, yeah, just be the love. As much as you want to like fix and help and share the truth, it's just holding that space with like non-judgmental, beautiful love is so powerful. Like I felt that in the presence of other people, and then when I've done that with other people, it's so healing. And so looking at them like a little 5-year-old that just wants love, just being there, is what helps me with that type of thing.
Thank you, Carrie. And it's so beautiful what you said, and it's very true. And it actually, there's when you have an empty vessel, your brain has more time to do its own natural processes. And since it's not taking care of the digestive process, because that actually takes so much energy from our mind. I didn't know this, and clearly I'm still eating at night right before I go to sleep. Um, even though you're not supposed to do that, because when you're sleeping, your body's supposed to be resting and it's not supposed to be digesting food. That should have been done hours ago. But I have heard that, and it makes 100% sense because where our mind are, when someone says, okay, I want you to point to where your mind is in your body, your mind doesn't have an organ. And since your mind doesn't have an organ, the things that happen to you in your mind stay in your body, since there's no place for it to go and process outside of you. So when we have this fear, guilt, anger, pain, hate, shame, all these horrible things, and we put a whole bunch of steak on top of it, and we go to sleep angry and overstimulated because we weren't meant for this shit. Caveman had a cave. We have Amazon Prime. Our bodies were not built for this life, not what we have done to this matrix. But that's why it is important to do things like fast and be healthy, and because it does make a huge difference. So I'm glad you can let me know how that worked out, because I need to practice that too. And I'm just starting with the meditation first, but it's a really big thing. And you know what? I think nowadays, one of the other things that I've learned to do that's helped me a lot is I don't tell anybody what I'm doing. That's up to them to figure that out. And it's not up to me to be the tower moment in somebody's life to say, guess what? Santa Claus ain't real. Like, like that's between them and God. Some people are supposed to be NPCs, so I don't bother them. If they come to me for advice and ask me something, and that's, I remember there was a post in the group too about a lady was asking, I want to tell my friend and share Bill with them, what episode do you recommend? And I always suggest that I think he shows up for us when we're ready. It's not really for us to tell other people, but if there's somebody that you think would agree with it and it would help them, just give them the name. Let's see what video shows up for them. That's the one they need.
Yeah, write a
So,
little letter and compose a little paragraph about how you're not crazy, you know.
yeah. Go ahead, Troy, and then Jesse, you're after Troy. Troy, did you want to
Oh,
share something?
uh, I don't really. I meditate and then I get an intimation of something. And I think that's what they call a download. And I've started having that happen. You know, I got incredible notes, but that's what I do. I, I take the notes and I read the book, you know. And I mean, I grew up in a church where I grew up in the Four Square Church, and it's Pentecostal and it's speaking in tongues and laying on of hands, and it's rough stuff, man. And you know, I came all ready to talk about the Holy Ghost tonight, but that's all right. We don't have to do that. But the Holy Ghost I grew up with was scary. It was the fiery arm of God. And yeah, they taught us that when we were little kids, but we turned out all right. But I just say, find the comfort in your practice and practice. I experiment with my meditation. I try silence. I try a blindfold. I do music. I do lighting. I do darkness. I mean, try it. Find your place. It's not for us to tell you. It's for you to find it. And when you find it, it's truth. It's gnosis. That's what this is. That's the difference. This is not the church. This is not Tuesday night church. This is gnosis. And until you sit and develop that practice, it becomes way more comprehensible. And even if it's not thoroughly revealed to you, then it's still okay. It's still okay. And the practice continues. That's enough.
Thank you, Troy.
Hmm?
Jesse?
Nice. Well, Troy, that was well spoken. Love that.
Damn right.
Yeah, yes, sir. I guess if there may be questions slash something else. Has Bill talked about in any of his videos, again, I would love to see them, about sharing this with your either children or spouse? Like I understand like, strangers and friends, but like, your people that are closest to you, like how do you go about, or at least does he have any suggestions or anything from scripture
Can I
that talks
can I
about
can I
how to do
answer
this?
that?
Sure.
Uh, you know, for me, my wife is an atheist. My wife does not believe in God. And that's where she's at. You know what I mean? I don't
Yeah.
I don't touch that. I don't touch that for anyone. I
I
think
think,
that there's been too much abuse of that in the churches that I grew up in. And so, you know,
hmm.
I mean,
Well,
that
yeah.
truth that I find, I know it's true when I close my eyes
Mhm.
and when I'm
But
there.
sometimes I feel like people that are atheists too sometimes are almost the strongest critics of God in a way. So if anything, they know a lot more than sometimes what you give them credit for. At least like,
Oh, they're awful charitable too, and they seem to understand the inner workings of it, even though they don't like the outer trappings of it.
yeah, it's almost like they realize that, whatever the God is that's described in the Bible, like the Old Testament God, it's kind of different than the New Testament God, right? I feel like most people can agree to that. And most people don't like the Old Testament God, and that's understandable why people would be atheists. But I feel like in a way, like I used to tell people for the longest time that I'm not Christian, but Jesus is my homie. Things like that, where it's like, what do you mean you're not Christian, but yet Jesus is, so like they didn't understand it. And this was years before. I met Bill, videos and stuff. But yeah, I didn't know if he had talked about that at all in the videos. I'm guessing that he didn't from your response.
I'll throw
No,
something out there. I've watched most of the videos several times, and I don't think so. I actually don't remember a situation where he described or encouraged or suggested a way to, or even to, you know, force this on somebody else or take what you want to, to your family. I don't think so, but I could be
Yeah,
wrong.
to me, I guess the word force, what he said that came to my head immediately, that like, I feel like with all parents and with children, like you want to show them, what I mean, like your version of the world as we all do and what we think is best. And, you kind of want them to be groomed a certain way, like every parent you put in a way. So I was just curious of how what about that, what seems like maybe he didn't talk about, it, maybe, because his kids were grown up, right? I think by the time that he started all this, so it kind of makes sense in a way.
right.
You didn't have
Okay.
kids.
And then I guess I didn't know. Does anybody know or have a list of like even like some sort of catalog of his videos? I think I asked this also to the Facebook group, but like even knowing like the years that these videos were somewhat released in, because some of them obviously have like the church background with the traditional, I don't know what to call it, just like
Yeah,
presentation,
the
right?
pink room.
Yeah, yeah, picture him, yeah. And then you have other ones where he's like it's much closer and it's almost like a chalkboard behind him or something. And then there's other videos of other things. So yeah, I just didn't know, I guess, if there was anything
I go by
supplemental.
outfits.
Okay.
How many blue shirts do you think he had?
That's why I just lost.
Probably 77, knowing him.
I'm guessing
Or
he had
100
five.
or
He had
five, yeah.
five.
I,
But
Yeah.
yeah, Beth is right.
On the right.
There's in the group there's a post somewhere with a link to a website that has everything in complete order.
Okay, because
So
I
I
had,
know
let
that
me tell you,
there's a couple of people that are doing that.
yeah, because I saw the site, the one where it kind of groups it in like 20 different groups, and then in those groups, they're listing the videos, and then it has the video number next to them. But I
Mhm.
don't but the video number that's next to them is just the literal title of the video. Like so, like 121 such and such title. That's what it is in the thing. So let me ask that
That's
because
Bill's
obviously,
version of Dead Sea Scrolls. We have to
yeah,
decipher it
Yeah.
ourselves.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I did notice that there's a lot of videos with like one, two, and three in front of them. Like it's because I was surprised to see that. Like I thought it would be 1 through 900 and maybe some duplicates, but there's a lot of videos that have one, two, and three. Like there's like 20 of them. And I was like, okay, well, which one is actually 1 and 18? You know what I mean? So that's all I was asking for with that. And then,
I'll see if I
okay,
can get that to you and then I'll send it to you. We'll look for it in group or I'll post it in group
okay.
too.
And then last thing,
Thank
yep,
you.
I was going to say is I also meditate every day. And maybe if somebody is afraid or hasn't started yet in this group, I tell even my wife who I think is afraid, just literally, you're already closing your eyes when you're going to sleep. Just meditate for a minute, just before you go to bed. It's like it's not that hard, because you're already laying down, you're quiet, your eyes are closed. Just take time to meditate. And that's when I do it. For me personally, the most. I'll put on some either like Monroe Gateway tapes, binaural beats, something. I try different things as well. And then, for me, it's trying to find that thing that we don't know, right? That we're looking for in a way. I've seen the cave a few times, sometimes different colors. I know that's described in the Bible and in Plato's allegory as well. So I'm just curious if maybe anybody else has seen this cave.
I know what you're talking about. I don't get mental images. I don't get pictures in my head. Not really clear ones. So to me it's all sort of a descriptive thing,
Hmm.
but I do get information, or intimations is what I would call it.
Sit down. Yeah.
after meditating, you know,
Yeah,
things just
it's a,
happen and things just kind of lock in for me that I've been working on, you know, or something else that I got indication of, which is what happened recently.
yeah, which makes sense because think about it, like the way that light travels is instant, right? To talk, we've probably seen some stuff where was it it's like string theory where a light can be instantaneous from one place to another, and I think sometimes when we are still enough and our brain is kind of having no thoughts, even if it's for a brief moment, that's when this download's happening because then something from the universe is kind of peeking towards us the same way that's described in string theory, So,
Yeah.
yep.
Well, thank you, dear. Miguel's been waiting. Go ahead, and then Roy, you're next. Thank you,
I
Jesse.
Yeah, thanks, Tanya, for doing this. I'm new to Bill's videos. I just saw him. He came across the feed a couple of months ago, and then it's kind of weird when um, I ended up. The house was empty, so I was able to watch a couple of videos of him. And I look at my Facebook and I'm like, oh man, he just passed. I'm like, I didn't even know he was still alive, but he passed on the 4th. And I was like, that was the day I was watching. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe this. But he really opened my eyes. And that video that you put out for us to watch really put a lot of stuff together in there. And I'm like, oh yeah, the meditation, the allegory of the Bible being meditation. How does all the stories fit? And one of them he did in that video that you had us watch was the ark, and the ark is your head, and you're looking up to the gate, the one window to get to the light, but it's absolutely amazing. So I do have it like Carrie was saying. I have a bunch of questions. Um, I'm not going to ask them now, but there's a couple of things I would definitely like to know of his thoughts. And I know James has watched a lot. Did he? And there's a couple of people that I want to share about to the group eventually, but there definitely is something about fallen angels here, right? So I don't know if he talked about anything like that, or the giants that actually existed, or the dragons that existed that are meant. They're all mentioned in the Bible. So um, those are like three open points for me to clear with this group. But yeah, no, and I appreciate it, Tanya, doing all this. This is awesome. Thanks.
Thank you for being here, Miguel. So we're looking for dragons and mythological
Dragons,
creatures and
angels,
giants. Dragons,
yeah.
angels, and giants.
I'll put the guy's name, and you guys should really look at this guy. All right, I'll put him in the chat. It's Tyler Hansen. I don't know if anybody had seen him, but he's on YouTube or Facebook, and um, all the movie stars and the music stars and politicians, none of them have died. They they've all come to be somebody else. And I don't, oh, somebody follows Tyler. Yes, thank you. He is awesome. He's a flat earther. The Bible points to flat earth as well. Yes, the lost books, the Enoch and Jubilee and stuff. Yeah, he's a normal person. He was 2 years ago. He didn't believe in God or flat Earth or anything, but he's really good at figuring out who's who with facial markings and things like that. I highly it's mind blowing actually the stuff he's uncovering, but it's
It
definitely
sounds
fallen angels.
interesting.
So I don't know if Bill talked about that, and I know we're going long here, so I got out
I
what I
will look it
needed to.
up. I got it in my notes, and I
Thank
can
you.
definitely
Love
get
it.
that
Thanks.
info if I find that. But thank you for being here, Miguel, and thank you for sharing. Roy, you're next, love.
Hello. I just found Bill's videos last week, and then today I was looking and I saw that he had passed away, and that's kind of sad. But I started meditating back in 1975, and I can tell you that there are many different techniques, and the technique that I just sit and focus my attention between the eyebrows and concentrate there. And I'm telling you, there is a light. You see this light? I'm sitting there. All of a sudden, I see a light, and the second you go, "Oh, look at that!" it goes away because it blows your concentration. So you have to kind of see the light, but ignore it at the same time. But my solar plexus opens up like I'm on a very fast elevator, and there really is a light, and it's there. It just takes a little while to get to that point. That's it.
And somebody was asking what color was the light
Oh,
for you?
oh, it's what? Whoops. Oh, it's white.
Oh, okay. Well, very good, Roy. Thank you so much. And I love getting everybody's different takes on how they meditate because I agree with Troy. Let's just try it. Joe, go on ahead.
Hey, thanks. A lot of points of interest. I listen to you guys talk, and I don't even want to say nothing because y'all sound so smart. But uh, I'm in recovery. I go to meetings, right? And sometimes there's a lot of us that are atheists in recovery. There's a lot of addicts that come from broken lives and they just can't believe. And sometimes and by the way, I'm atheist about 3 or 4 days a week. The other days, not so much. I try to, that's just a little silly joke. But I do for them what Bill showed me about energy and electricity, about putting your finger in your ears, being quiet, and then listening for that hum. And that's about the time when I was sold on Bill Donahue, when he was talking about the energy within us to put your fingers in your ears, close your eyes, and be quiet, and you can feel the electricity. That shit is wild, dude. But I've done that with a couple of people from the meetings, and I don't know if it helped them any, but that's somebody was talking about how do you show your loved ones, how to do this stuff. I don't know that we do, but I know a lot of Bill talked about this is like, I'm not, I don't want to say he sounded like he didn't believe in God, or it wasn't the whole God factor. It's science. It's astrology. It's astronomy. He told me something that I still don't understand. He said the entire Bible is in the stars. I would like to figure that out. I'd like to see how that's a thing. But a couple other things I had. Oh yeah, the age of Aquarius is upon us, and that's like a time of awakenings, a time of mass awakenings and information coming to be, I guess. But I don't know. Like I said, I listen to you guys, and this is just beautiful listening to you guys because I feel like, well, I don't know what the hell I'm just now learning. I've been doing this a couple of years, but and I will say this, like the young lady Carrie talking about fasting, and I was doing good here and there. I kind of lost my way around Thanksgiving, before Thanksgiving. I don't do well with the holidays because that side of my ego is still attached to, like, I don't have any family around anymore. Most everybody's dead. I got a couple cousins and stepbrothers that are alive that I just don't fool with. And I guess I kind of got depressed around the holidays, and I'm just coming out. I've gained weight since then. I'm not doing well with my diet. I got a lot of stuff going on, but I'm getting back on track, and like listening to you guys with your suggestions and ideas is really helpful for me. And I got to break out my meditation stuff more too. So I do a meditation meeting every week, once a week, and if nothing else, I meditate for 1 hour during Saturday every week. And and lately there hasn't been much more than that. So I want to get back on that stuff. But anyway, thanks for letting me ramble again.
Thank you, Joe. Carrie?
I was gonna say something, then it I lost it, and then when Joe talked about fasting again, there's an art to it. There's an art to like prepare your body so it's not like all or nothing. And if I'm happy to help with suggestions if you want later. But there was something before that I was gonna comment on, and then it'll come back.
Okay.
Just went in
Beth?
and out. But yeah.
It happened. Beth? Martha?
Hello.
There she is, everybody. This is the one and
Uh,
only Martha Herricks.
Martha.
Well, good evening to everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. I just been listening to everybody. A couple of things I'd like to share. Um, I think we're missing the fact that we are one with God. There's nothing to find. Even in your meditation, there's nothing to find. And I think too many people place too much energy on trying to make something happen in a physical way. Your meditation is just for you to quiet your mind. If you don't hear, if you don't see nothing, something has happened within you. It's like current underneath that's happening. You don't see it, but it's there. So every time you take your time to go into meditation, something is changing within you. And then you have to be okay with that. Not seeing the lightning flashing from the east to the west. It doesn't happen that way all the time, but that doesn't mean that nothing didn't change within you. So I just want to encourage you to stop looking for stuff and go within and love what's happening, even when you don't feel anything, because you are God having this physical experience, and you are the expression of God in the earth. And somebody asks a question about how do they share with their family. It's not your place. This is your journey. When it's their time, they will awaken. So be
Yeah.
okay with that. Love your journey. Love what's happening for you. Enjoy that because you get one life to enjoy this and do it 100%. So that's what I have to say.
Woo.
That was awesome, Martha.
Thank you, Martha.
You're
It's so good to
welcome.
see you. I've
Good
missed
to
you.
see you too. I love
Roy?
it. It's just so much fun. Have fun with it.
Roy, did you want to share love?
Hello again. You were talking about fasting. One thing that I do is what I call fruit day. So for 24 hours, I just eat fruit, but it's got to be real fruit, not fruit in sugary syrup, real apples, real bananas, whatever. And on the days that I do fruit day, that's the days that I have the really deep meditation because there's less going on with the body. So that's just one method of fasting. You don't have to not eat anything. You can eat fruit for 24 hours, and that works really good.
I agree with that, and I can expand on it later. But yeah.
Thank you, Carrie, and thank you, Roy. Beth, you ready?
I am. Thank you so much. I was like, oh, I can't talk. Um, I have been around the world with, I went from, excuse me, growing up in Catholic. I am as a child, I mean, I felt God's presence and I was in love with him. I just loved that I knew I was so loved by him. I wanted to be a nun when I was 7 years old. Like I wanted to be that close to him. And then yeah, you grow up and you go into the world and the world takes over. And then like about it's probably been over 15 years now, I discovered New Age. Didn't know, you just started, it was just coming out like as far as my area and you started learning and talking to different people and this and that. And I did that for 50, probably 15 years. And then COVID hit and, everybody's world got turned upside down. And I've always wanted to read the Bible and I started really getting back to learning about Jesus. And I would just cry and cry and cry about him. And I don't know, and I don't, it just was so overwhelming. And I just felt I needed to go back to my roots. So I left the new age and went straight on to, Christianity. I didn't go to Catholicism because I know it's demonic, but I was just focused on Jesus and my relationship with him. And it took me a year. I read the entire Bible, but literally Genesis, the first page, when it's like, and they divided the waters above from the waters below. And I'm like, hello, like it's clearly right there. And I'm very analytical. So I started really, as I'm reading, things were not making sense to me, but I wasn't giving up. But in between that year, I would see videos of Bill. And I was like, oh, I like him. I'm from Jersey. So I was like, I just was so drawn to him. And I would share them with my friend who was going through the same journey as me. We were both New Age, then we went to Christianity, but I would see Bill. And then after I finished the Bible, and I still had so many questions and things did not add up. I'm like, this cannot be taken literally. It just can't. And so I started like, I'm like, you know what? I remember seeing that guy. Let me go look him up. And it was Bill. And I started watching his videos and I'm like, yes, you know, you have to listen to yourself. You have to really listen to what resonates with you. And when things don't seem right, they're probably not. And you really just need to trust your gut, trust your gut, trust your guidance, your internal guidance. And I knew that there was something trying to get my attention, and it was Bill. And I too, one day I was sitting here, like I work from home, and I put Bill on, and I'm like, I wonder where he is today. And so I looked up the page and I saw that he was his nephew had posted the picture of him um and just said he wasn't doing well. And I just cried and cried and cried. And I thought, oh, this man has changed my world. He brought me back to myself, and my relationship with myself and with God. And even as a kid, I used to say, why do I have to go through a priest to get to God? I didn't understand that. And then even in the Bible, I'm like, why do I have to go through Jesus? Why can't I just talk to God? And it just, like I said, all these things were just not adding up. And I love Jesus. And I know I'm still kind of confused sometimes because Bill sometimes I think he even said whether Jesus didn't exist or we don't know if Jesus exists. I'm not really sure. Although the name, his name wasn't Jesus, obviously. But it just he changed my world. I'm so grateful for him. Um, and when he passed, it was tough, but it was like, you know what, man, he's free. And if he can just come back and tell us, like, how was it? What was it like? Where are you? What are you doing? Is he, and it's just I'm excited for him to be back to be with Joan or wherever he is and whatever they're doing. But I'm very grateful and I'm so glad that you guys are doing this because like someone has said, we don't need anyone to take over and continue his journey. That was his, and he's taught us. But like you said, take the messages, and then also, but do your work, do your internal work, do that meditation, because that's the whole point of it. He was just, guiding us to that to help us learn that. But I appreciate him so much. And like I said, every day, I'm learning something new and I feel whole again. I was so depressed in Christianity. And everyone's telling me, just hang in there, pray to God. Jesus, he'll save you. We're all going when the rapture comes. And I'm like, I didn't even believe that. And I was just like, okay. But it didn't feel right to be looking outside of myself and basically begging for help. I I was so depressed and I was kind of scared to go back to the way I used to be when I was happier. But I'm like, I'm gonna just take a leap of faith. And oh my God, it was like a weight, a huge weight was lifted off of me. And I'm myself again. I'm growing and expanding and I'm just like, okay, I'm where I'm supposed to be. I just took a detour, but
I think we all are right here in this group. And
hmm.
and we're doing this together. It's not we're all
Yes.
doing this together.
Yes, absolutely.
Sorry,
So thank
friends
you
are
for letting me
busy.
share. I'm so glad to are we doing it every Tuesday night? We're gonna be doing this like a Tuesday.
I will figure that out.
Okay. All right, that's fine. But I'm enjoying it
But
while I'm here.
I'm thinking maybe every other Tuesday and Saturday. Like
Okay.
because there's Saturday group and
I saw
Tuesday
that.
group. And I think like you just said though, let's do the work. Let's meditate. And
Hmm.
Carrie, I'm gonna let you go, and then we're already at 8:15-ish. So if anybody wants to stay and meditate for a little while, and then I'll just leave the room open and you can leave at your leisure. But we're gonna meditate. I'll do a little quick guided meditation for about 5 minutes, and then we'll just be silent, and I'll close it out after 10 minutes and leave the room open for whoever wants to stay in the interim. Carrie, go ahead, love.
Yeah, I remember what I was going to say when Joe was talking, when he was talking about astrology. My sister studies evolutionary astrology, and it's been really helpful to just understand the language of the stars. And it makes sense when Bill talks. Like when I hear her talk, it's like, oh my God, speak in layman's terms, but to combine her knowledge with what he shares in the Bible, it makes it's just helping me understand life more. And she told us before, she's like, in January, something's going to happen. It's like Civil War type energy. We're seeing it. I'm in Minnesota, so it's like really intense here. Um, but just knowing the weather of like these things are going to come, how can I feel like our superpower is how can we come back to our center and go within instead of, because right, there's always stuff happening all over. Or that's just like how I'm helping navigate people and conversations here, because there's just a lot of fear and how to come back to, yeah, ourselves in that way. But anyhow, back to astrology, it's interesting how it's written in the stars in a way, but we have, yeah, the choice of how we want to respond. That's it.
Thank you guys. And I think anybody else want to text or type or say one more thing? If not, let's turn our cameras off. Let's relax. And I'll give y'all a minute to get cozy and comfy. So we can just take some silence for 10 minutes. Like I said, it's I'll come back in and let everybody know when our 10 minutes is up. And if you're not wanting to participate, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate everybody's presence, and we will do this again. I'm thinking maybe, I don't know, not next Tuesday, but the Tuesday after. Oh, we'll look. So, I'll put a poll up in group. We'll do that, and I think that'll help out. So, all right, you guys, let's get in our safe spaces and take a couple deep breaths in and just relax. Love you too, Joe. Thank you guys for being here. I'm gonna mute everybody so we don't get interrupted. I think everybody's pretty muted. All right, you guys. Okay. Just get comfortable now. And let your body just settle into the position that it naturally chooses when it feels safe enough to let go. And let your awareness drift towards your breath. We're not doing anything to it. We're not changing it in any way. We're just here to witness what's already happening. The breath is automatic. The body does it without you, is what Bill told us. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to let it. We're going to let our inhalation rise the air in our chest. And you can inhale at your own pace. And you can exhale at your own pace. And just observe. Don't try and change it. And I want you to feel the surface beneath you. Feel how it's supporting you. And let your weight drop into that support. And as your mind softens, you can let your ribs soften. You can let your breath move over you. And watch it make your tummy rise and flatten. And now I'm going to invite you to bring your attention to your forehead, to the pineal gland. And this is where Bill says we have our inner eye, our secret chamber. And we don't have to force anything to be there. We don't have to do anything special to get to that. And we all know our own direction of getting there. So let's just do this now. Just keep breathing. And as you breathe, you're going to feel that faint glow of the light within you. Because when we go within to meet God, we also find ourselves. And you have your own light. You have your own wisdom. You have your own knowing. And when you're ready, just allow that glow to just move up to the top of your head, almost to where it feels like it can tingle and rain down like fireworks, falling all the way down to your shoulders, lighting up on the way your chest, feeling that light, feel your heart space. Now having it move down into your tummy and allowing that light that we carry within to radiate through our hips, our legs, our feet. Just imagine that that light extends past your feet, all the way down into the floor, all the way down until it finds its position into the earth. As we are just conduits, we are just the in between. And now that you have that light flowing through you, just visualize, picture, or imagine that quiet space within you. Is there stars in your space? Is it just black? Is it just silent? It is your space. It is your place. Just get reacquainted with the energy that you share here, the one that you share with your higher self, that communication you have within you. You don't have to listen to your thoughts right now. You just let them fly away. Just observe them and let them go. like the rise and the fall of your breath. Take the breath and then give the breath. And just be the quiet lamp glowing in the room. Just be the witness to your breath. And inhale, the light brightens. And exhale, you feel more at peace. Let's just take this moment of silence and we'll return to the room in a few minutes. Be still and know And as we prepare to return, I'll ask you to take one breath and then give one breath. And your breathing is still automatic, still done without you or your attention to it. Your breath is still carrying you without your control. And that is all we need. And the surface beneath you is still supporting you. You are here, you are present. Thank you for sharing your light with us. Hold some of this light with you. Let it continue to stay with you throughout your week, throughout your evening. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Now, see you again soon. Have a lovely night. Thank you, lovelies.